Hi everyone, welcome back to the Growing Grace podcast. As you guys can see, today's setup is the same as last week. It is going to be just a tiny little clip of an episode for you guys while the construction of the set is still ongoing. Hopefully by next week it should be done and episodes should resume as normal length, normal looking, and I am so excited for you guys to see how the new set looks. But as for today, I am just going to be sharing a little word that God gave me, and it is from Proverbs chapter 4, it is verse 18, and it says, "The way of the righteous is like the first gleam of dawn, which shines ever brighter until the full light of day." And I read that verse over and over and over again, and I was confused, and I didn't know what it meant, and I heard him say, "A word for my people." And I said, "Okay, God, what's the word for your people?" And he just shared with me that just because we don't always see the light doesn't mean that it isn't there, it isn't shining. Sometimes we can trap ourselves in the blacked out room of our own minds and then wonder why we aren't leading others to Christ. And what that means is just that the light of God is always shining. It is always shining in and through us, and sometimes we can block ourselves from seeing that. Sometimes we can see the light shining in others, but we struggle to see the light that's shining through ourselves because we're trying to be humble or we're just struggling. And because we're struggling, we don't think that we can be shining the light of Christ. However, that's not true. And when we're in that mindset, we're putting ourselves in that blacked out room where the light is shining out, but we can't see the light ourselves. And that is why we struggle and we wonder and we question why we aren't being able to have conversations with people about God, or we're not able to lead them to Christ. And it's because we're focused so much on worrying about the fact that we can't see ourselves shining light. We're focused more on our inward selves than we are on sharing the light of Jesus. And when we focus on just putting our best foot forward, that is when God's light shines the best. We can read in John chapter 8, verse 12, Jesus says, "Jesus spoke to the people once more and said, 'I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you won't have to walk in darkness, because you will have the light that leads to life.'" And so we are given this invitation that when we accept Jesus, we don't have to walk in darkness. We don't have to walk in the unknown. We don't have to walk in a place where we're walking on eggshells. We don't have to tiptoe. We can just walk in the light of God. And now that doesn't mean that we're always going to know the path that he has for us, as I've talked about so much in past episodes. But it does mean that our path will be illuminated, that he will show us the steps to take, and that he will be there with us. And that people are always watching us. They watch how we just handle difficult situations. They watch how we interact with people when we're really struggling. They watch what we're like when we're at a peak in our life. People are watching us all the time. And because of that, we can always be shining Jesus' light. Even when we feel like we're in a dark moment, we could be shining the light of Jesus to someone because we could be turning to him in prayer. Or they could see us worshiping even while we're bawling our eyes out because we're hurting inside. No matter what it is, we can always shine the light of Jesus. And so that is just going to be my challenge for you all this week, is to remember that people are watching what you do. People are watching how you worship. They're watching how you deal with difficult situations. They are watching how you act in your day-to-day life. And they are, more importantly, seeking the same light that you let out. And so my challenge for you all is to shine Jesus' light a little extra. Whether it's speaking his name and saying, "Jesus, bring your light here," and inviting it into a conversation with someone, or it's just handling a situation better than you normally would, whether it's being slower to anger, slower to speak, or just whatever it could be. It's very personal, so take some time and reflect with God as to how you can better shine his light. And thank you all so much for listening, and I will be back with you guys with hopefully a full brand new set next week. Bye!